there comes a point where you just become comfortable with it and you know that you're good at your job.
Uh-huh.
So if a client reaches out to me now, I'm so confident that I'm going to provide them an amazing experience and get them a great apartment
Mhm.
that I really don't even think twice about being nervous. It's just my job. It's just what I do. People in college who are interested in real estate, because that's how I started. And I think it's a great low risk time to get into it
Mhm.
because, when you're in college, depends on who you are, a lot of your expenses are covered, whereas if you're 28 living in New York City, it's very expensive. So a lot of people aren't in a position to take a risk of getting into real estate.
So, welcome to another episode of The Founder's Story, where we dive deep into the stories of entrepreneurs and founders who are transforming their industry. Today, we are excited to have Mike here, the founder and CEO of Real NYC Apartments. Mike and his team are redefining the apartment hunting experience in one of the toughest real estate markets, New York City. With a social media following of over 140,000 followers, Real NYC Apartments are offering dynamic video tours through Instagram and TikTok, ensuring that what you see online is what you get. So, we'll explore how Mike turned his challenges into an exciting journey of clients, his innovative approach in this field, and how social media actually helped him to grow this company. So let's jump in.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for having me. Super excited to chat. That was probably one of the best intros I've ever had. So yeah, my name's Mike. Obviously, I'm based out of New York City. And you hit the nail on the head. Real NYC Apartments, the whole point is to really emphasize transparency in the apartment hunting process and to make sure that, our followers get great content and our clients get great experiences when looking for apartments. It is, if you've ever looked for an apartment in New York City, it is a nightmare. So we try to make that a little bit easier and a little bit more enjoyable.
So how was the journey before this? Was it your first company, or did you start as a broker? How was it?
Yeah, so Real NYC Apartments is my first company. I started when I was 21 working in real estate in New York City. I was in college. I desperately needed a job, and sales was just the easiest thing. So, I started out doing rentals. I worked for another broker, and they would provide me with clients and whatnot. And the big thing that I noticed was, I was in these apartments every single day. I was always videotaping the apartments for different clients. So I figured, why not just post these apartments? I had the rare ability, so to speak, that like I was in, $10 million apartments every day and people would die to see these.
Yeah.
So, I started posting everything that I could, from a $2,500 studio apartment for rent to a $60 million penthouse available for sale. And, the ability to just get into any apartment was really what gave us the ability to grow exponentially. We've only really been doing social media for 18, 19 months now. And like you said, we're already past 140,000 followers.
True.
And it just grows exponentially.
How did you like start your journey at sales? Were you good at sales like while joining, or was it hard? How was it?
Yeah. So, I've always been pretty good at sales, mostly just because I'm very extroverted and I will talk to anybody and I will find a way to build a connection. When it comes to rentals, no, I was terrible when I started. I think I went 6 months before I closed a deal where like people that I've hired since, or people that I've worked with, will close a deal in their first 3 days. I was really, really bad when I started. I was nervous, I was stressed, but there comes a point where you just become comfortable with it and you know that you're good at your job. So if a client reaches out to me now, I'm so confident that I'm going to provide them an amazing experience and get them a great apartment that I really don't even think twice about being nervous. It's just my job. It's just what I do.
Do you like still go out and sell stuff yourself, or do you have?
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. The company's so young that I'd be crazy not to. Like I'm working 24/7 because, I'm realistically doing two jobs. I'm an influencer because I'm running the company's social media accounts and I'm kind of the voice and the personality behind that. But yeah, you know, if clients reach out, I'm usually the person talking with those clients. I have a great team of between 6 and 8 people. It kind of varies because, you know, real estate is all independent contractors.
True.
So a lot of our agents will fly to Greece for a month and, you know, they'll go on vacation and we don't bother them too much. So yeah, you know, when we get clients, like, you know, I will work with anyone from a new college graduate renting for $3,000 to, like, you know, we've worked with celebrities buying for 10, 15, 20 million dollars that found us on social. So yeah, I'm out there every day without a doubt. That's where I'm going right after this.
Okay, so why Instagram? Why TikTok?
Yeah. So something that I've noticed is real estate is the most inefficient and outdated market or industry. So what I found was real estate is just marketing.
True.
Especially in a place like New York City, the apartments sell themselves. I don't have to really sell an apartment or convince someone to buy it. The apartments are so good and they're in such high demand that I just need to show it to the right person. So what I realized was if I go on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, if I create engaging, interesting content that people want to see, the algorithm will do the work for me and show it to enough people where eventually someone who wants an apartment and can afford the apartment will see it. So we have a little bit of a two-pronged approach, so to speak, where, you know, we have a very diverse follower base. We have, you know, people who are 12 years old who obviously can't afford a $5 million apartment, but they love these videos and they're so interested and they dream of living in New York one day. So what we do is we make videos that, you know, someone who dreams of living in New York can watch and enjoy and engage with. And they do such a great job of engaging with these videos that the algorithm then pushes it out to executives at Goldman Sachs who happen to be on Instagram who can go and buy a $20 million apartment. So that's kind of our approach.
So the misconception that these kind of peoples are not in Instagram is not real.
No, I mean, I personally know billionaires who are on Instagram all the time. You know, we're all humans at the end of the day. People love this type of content. They love to whether they're looking at their friends' content or looking at memes or something. Like, you would be amazed the amount of celebrities that I'm with. And if there's a down moment, they just open TikTok and start scrolling. So I think TikTok has, I don't know, billion users. So 1 of 7 people has to be someone important. So yeah, it's everyone is on social. You know, it's all age groups, all demographics, all socioeconomic classes. So that's why we do what we do, and it's free. That's the biggest thing. We've never spent a penny on advertising.
So you like marketed the apartments in Instagram, TikTok, and do you use other platforms as well, like YouTube and?
So yeah, we use YouTube Shorts. We're trying to get into Facebook and LinkedIn just because LinkedIn is a very, very professional and, it's a great demographic to hit. Facebook is obviously an older demographic, which is great. You know, older people, as we all know in this global economy, they have the money. They're buying the apartments more often than someone my age. So we're constantly looking at new avenues. And there's people on Facebook, like, you know, if you look at Darman or Supercar Blondie, they are getting hundreds of millions of views.
Yeah, true.
It's so, yeah. And I think Facebook is the biggest social program.
Yeah, but have you like considered making long form contents, not just short form?
Yes. So we're constantly looking for the right chance to make long form videos. You know, we're currently hiring production assistants and videographers just so that, you know, when the opportunity arises for us to go shoot an $100 million townhouse or penthouse, that we can go in with a full team and make a great 10, 15, 20-minute video. and put that on YouTube.
So how did you approach like growing your presence online?
I
Mhm.
I just posted as much as possible. That's really all it came down to. I took a very analytic approach, meaning I
Uh-huh.
went and if a video did well, I broke down that video to, the hashtags that I use, the words that I use, like the
Mhm.
phrases, the intro, everything. And over time, I realized it's very easy to see what works and what doesn't work. So it was just all organic.
Mhm.
The TikTok and the Instagram algorithms, they're constantly changing.
Mhm.
So there was a point, I would say about a year ago,
Mhm.
where, oh my God, we were probably doing 10 million views a month just on TikTok.
Mhm.
So, maybe 15 to 20 million views a month across platforms,
Mhm.
just because if I said something to the extent of you and your best friend need this apartment,
Mhm.
people would share it with their best friend.
Mhm.
And TikTok thinks that a share is the most important thing in the world.
True.
So these videos were getting, you know, 2, 5, 10, 15 million views,
Mhm.
and they were just going mega viral.
Mhm.
So that was a lot of fun. Now it's a little bit different. It's more of a retention game.
Mhm.
So I need to keep basically 20% of people engaged for over a minute,
Mhm.
which is a lot harder than it sounds.
True. True.
So yeah.
Uh-huh. That's nice. So, uh, while building this social media, you said that your main approach was to just post, right? Nothing else, just looking at the analytics and then posting. So, uh, did you face some challenges early on, like while posting uh, your videos, and how did you like push through them?
Yeah. So, you know, just like any company, like when we started,
Mm-hmm.
people just didn't really understand what we were doing.
Uh-huh.
You have people like Ryan Serhant, who I respect so much. Like Ryan is one of the coolest guys in the world, and he does a phenomenal job of utilizing social media to present apartments. Now he's done billions of dollars in transactions. Like he really set the stage for us, so to speak. But when we started, people did not understand what we were doing. They didn't understand TikTok. They didn't understand Instagram. So when I would call up a building and say, hey, I want to film this 10, 15, $20 million apartment,
Mm-hmm.
they would just say no. They wouldn't return my calls. They wouldn't respond to my emails.
Uh-huh.
And this was when we had like 10,000 followers,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was huge at the time.
Sure.
Um, and I'm sure I'll look back and say that 140,000 was nothing like next year. So yeah, people just didn't get it. People didn't get it. People would report us to the real estate board of New York because they thought what we were doing was illegal for some reason, which obviously it's not.
Uh-huh.
Um, but now we have this phenomenal track record and we have so many followers that buildings are now calling me being like, hey, can you please come film our apartments? So that's been great. I was just yesterday with the number one agent in New York, in all of New York,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, I love what you're doing, like I'm dying to work together. And a year ago I was begging random people to let me film their apartments. So yeah, we,
It's
we face a lot of obstacles,
it's
but
quite funny actually. Like in my country where I live, videos are like the way this has become a trend that people are actually posting the apartments and real estates on Instagram. So I think it's been around 2 to 3 years, and uh, it's not kind of a new thing here, to be honest. So y-
good.
yeah. So do you like suit yourself all the content?
Yeah, so it really varies. Typically I'm going out and filming every single video. I try to post minimum once a day. My goal is twice a day, and each video is a totally different apartment.
Mhm.
But we're building out ways to have members of our team go out and film as well, send them to me, and then I can do the voiceover.
How do you edit those videos? Do you outsource them?
So So I use CapCut because I put the captions on and I do like a voiceover. But one thing that I'm so particular about is the reason I started this was because I saw a lack of transparency. If
Uh-huh.
you go on StreetEasy or RentHop or these other websites, they take a photo of the apartment,
True.
they edit it, they put in furniture, they will make it look like a totally different apartment. So you show up and you don't even recognize the place that you're standing in.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we take one video, it's one continuous shot,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't edit it, we don't change anything, so that, you know, if you see the apartment that you like and you show up the next day to tour it, it's exactly how you saw it. Nothing has changed, nothing is different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we don't edit too much. I've tried to edit, I'm terrible at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, eventually we'll hire an editor for like longer form content, or maybe, you know, we'll do some more interesting types of content.
Cool. So, how's the real estate in New York City? Is it like changing uh, when you started and where you are now? How is like the market shifting?
The market's interesting. You know, right now we're in a pretty high interest rate environment. So if you're a cash buyer, you have a ton of power. Like, you know, I'm working with a guy right now. He's a full cash buyer, and we're just walking around to apartments that he likes, throwing in offers like 30% below asking.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Okay.
New York City will always be a super competitive market. It'll always be a super popular market.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, apartments just aren't moving the way that they normally would. And, you know, because apartments are sitting for a little bit, you're also seeing that not like a lot of great apartments aren't coming to the market. A lot of people, if they don't have to, they don't want to list this one of a kind amazing apartment, have it sit for 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
and then it devalues that apartment. So they're waiting for a better market. But no, the truth is, New York City will always be competitive. It'll always be a wonderful market. Rentals are, you know, they were crazy. They're finally coming back down now. We're moving into the winter. So I think it's going to be a bloodbath in luxury rentals. I think they're going to get really cheap really fast.
Uh-huh.
So I'm moving in January because I want a nicer apartment.
All right. So, are you considering real NYC apartments for that? To buy?
I will use my own firm. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll always chat with my agents and see if they have any good deals coming up. Definitely.
All right. So, uh, the traditional industry that you used to work at, and now you have your own company, like, do you have the same kind of style, or apart from that social media thing, is everything like same thing about your company?
That's a great question. I've definitely taken a lot from, you know, previous companies that I've worked at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I used to work with a brokerage called Real 212.
Mm-hmm.
They do a ton of rentals in the financial district. Just a wonderful, wonderful company. I still chat with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy who owns the company is one of the best salesmen I've ever met. And he taught me just so much about the market and about sales and about really communicating with clients. So one big thing that we built on from his foundation is what we call shopping with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
The way that we handle transactions is, and like I said, New York City, the apartments sell themselves. I don't have to sell. I don't have to really do anything. So there's a lot of work involved, but I don't have to like force people into buying an apartment.
Yeah.
So shopping with a friend is, you know, Ayush, if you're looking for an apartment, my role in that is like a high-end liaison. Like my goal in that is to be your friend who knows everything about real estate. So I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to enjoy the process, because a lot of brokers in the city make it a very uncomfortable, like stressful process. When, you know, if you're spending $5 million on an apartment, it should be a pretty enjoyable experience, a pretty luxurious experience.
Yeah.
So that's something that we've definitely built on. The old company that I worked at, they did a great job at that. They're, you know, world-class agents. So yeah, we've definitely changed some stuff, but you know it as well as I do. You have to, you know, build on what you've learned in the past in anything that you do.
So yeah, you're trying to build a friendly experience. I think being extrovert also helps in that case. So how do you actually like hire guys in your team? Do you have a team for like to go to places and sell the stuff, or do you outsource them?
So right now we partner with Compass, which is the largest brokerage in the country right now. I think it's 28,000 agents.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that we decided to partner with them was we have so many clients who reach out on a daily basis that
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't handle it. My business partner couldn't handle it. We were just drowning.
Mm-hmm.
So we partnered with Compass because we decided that they had the best and the most agents at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we work with a team of between 6 and 8 people at Compass.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they're independent contractors. They work for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
but they work with our clients in conjunction with us
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that like these clients are getting a great experience. Because my goal is to make it so that if I'm working with one person, I want that person to feel like they're the only person that I'm working with, even though I'm working with 15. So when I'm working with 60 people at once, the business model just falls apart. So yeah, so we have a lot of people that I don't want to call it outsourcing, but I think that's probably the most apt description.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of people that we work with, that we partner with, but we are actively hiring new agents. And we go to career fairs at colleges to find people in college who are interested in real estate, because that's how I started. And I think it's a great low risk time to get into it
Mm-hmm.
because, when you're in college, depends on who you are, a lot of your expenses are covered, whereas if you're 28 living in New York City, it's very expensive. So a lot of people aren't in a position to take a risk of getting into real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actively working on hiring. And the nice thing is, we have such a big social media presence and such a like reputable brand that people reach out to me now being like, hey, can I please come work for you? So that's definitely helpful.
Nice. So about the video tours, that's the biggest selling point in your business, right? So how do you like set the right expectations, for people, uh, you saw the video, but how are they going to like from a viewer to your potential client? Do they reach out to you through the socials, or you have a website where they reach out to you? How does that flow looks like?
Yeah. So we have a website. It's really simple. We have a link in our bio that brings them to an intake form.
Mm-hmm.
And we're always A/B testing. We're always trying to figure out what we can change to make it more efficient. Because something that we've seen is, if someone's renting an apartment for $5,000 a month, they'll use that intake form. But when I get someone who wants to buy an apartment for $5-10 million, if I get a celebrity who reaches out, if I get like an executive at like some massive company that reaches out, typically they're DMing me or reaching out direct, or somehow they'll get my cell phone number, which I'm always really impressed with. It's not hard, but I'm always impressed when someone just calls me out of the blue. Please don't call me out of the blue though.
All right.
So yeah, so we have that intake form, and that has been, God, I mean, over the past 18-19 months, we've probably changed that form 150 times, just because you have to find a way to minimize the friction when filling out that form. We need a ton of info to make sure that, we can assist in this apartment search, but we also need to make sure that it's really short so that anyone who wants to fill it out can fill it out in like a minute. And there's no obstacles that would get them to click off the page. That's a work in progress, without a doubt.
Starting your this business in a very competitive space, I must say. So did you like have any kind of uh, as someone who you always like refer to or see as your sort of what you want to be like in the future? Do you have a companies like that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Ryan Serhant, I've yet to meet him. I know probably 100 people who personally know him yet. I haven't met him yet. I respect Ryan so much. I think he is phenomenal. he's probably the number one person that I really look up to in real estate. But I mean, there's so many people. Like New York City is probably the world capital for real estate agents. I don't know if that's true or not, but there's a ton of us here, and so many people are doing so many interesting, innovative things, and an equal amount are doing nothing. So it's a really interesting kind of, it's a really interesting market. So, you know, the short answer is I think Ryan Serhant did a wonderful job. I think he's a really, really smart guy. I would do some things differently. You know, one thing I was having this conversation yesterday. I keep my face totally outside of my brand. Like my name is not associated with it. You know, there's people who will watch this who will probably see my face for the first time, even though they've heard my voice for like a year now. I don't know if Ryan Serhant can walk down the street because he's so famous, you know? So the nice thing is I can go walk down the street. I can go do whatever I want. I've been recognized by my voice before. That's a little scary. One of my neighbors who like lives a few floors down, like stopped me in the elevator and she was like, "Are you real NYC Apartments?" It's like, oh God.
So do you ever want to get famous like him?
No, I love, I don't know, you know, look, I have like a proximity to a lot of people who are like extremely famous. And when I'm with them, it's very uncomfortable. Like, not for me, but for them objectively. You know, I was at a party recently with like this, and I bumped into this guy. He's like a really famous rapper. I won't say his name. And he was super cool because nobody really no one really cared to like freak out. And he was really nice. He was really down to earth. But, you know, I was walking down Broadway not too long ago with one of my clients, and she is probably one of the most famous people on the face of the earth. Like everyone objectively knows her. And people started to flock and people started to scream and take photos, and they like surrounded her SUV. And that they didn't care about me. Thankfully, I was able to just walk away. But for her, no, that was it. It's really stressful. I can't imagine, you know, people constantly caring about what I do, what I think, where I am, who I'm with. So there's a level of anonymity that I really appreciate. You know, I think President Obama did an interview years ago. And the one thing he said, he was like, the number one thing I hate about being president is I can't go sit on a bench in a park. I can't bump into a friend and have it be like a casual interaction. So yeah, I don't have plans to become famous. I'd like to become extremely wealthy, but not extremely famous. That's the difference there.
Where do you see real NYC Apartments going next? You know, are there any trends or new ideas that you are excited about, you are planning to execute?
Yeah, so, you know, we're constantly working on new plans. My mother always taught me to kind of keep my cards close to my vest and don't show my hand. So what I will say is, you know, there's been a lot of debates on, do we go full force as a real estate company facilitating the transactions? Do we become exclusively a media company where, you know, we become a digital marketing company? I don't see why we can't do both. But, you know, what it comes down to is we're just going to continue creating extremely high quality content. We're going to continue making sure that the people that we work with get the absolute best service that you could ever imagine. And I just think that's the best way to grow. You know, I have a lot of friends who own tech companies who are going through their Series A, who are raising a ton of money. That's not really for me. I'm more of a slow growth, like, you know, I don't necessarily want to bring on a ton of investors. So it's not slow. I mean, like I said, we've grown this company in 19 months. My life has changed drastically over the past 2 years.
Uh-huh.
So we'll continue growing really fast, but we'll see. I think you really could compare us to someone like Sirhan, and his brokerage is absolutely phenomenal.
Mhm.
And I think there's a chance we could do something very similar to that. There's a chance we could do something totally different. But the way that I look at it is, being in business is such a fluid thing
Mhm.
that, I don't want to say anything that isn't true. And I don't want to mislead people. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. You can follow us on Instagram
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
what we do next.
Yeah, so I think we are coming to the end of the podcast. All right, before we actually wrap up, I'll have a few rapid fire questions. So,
Love it.
all right, so let's start then. What's your favorite neighborhood in NYC?
Without a doubt, it's like Northern Tribeca, Hudson Square. It
Mm-hmm.
is just amazing. You have like really close, you have really great proximity to the West Side Highway, so you can get anywhere in the city.
Mm-hmm.
But on the West Side Highway is also, the shoreline of New York City. So you get the running paths, the tennis courts, the bike lanes. It's a ton of fun. And you get some of the best buildings in the world, like 250 West.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. After this, Google that building. It is stunning. It's an older building that they basically gut renovated. It's super exclusive, super high end. I think an apartment just got listed there for like $16 million for like a 4-bedroom.
Okay.
I'm trying to get into that right now, so we'll see.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, definitely Northern Tribeca, Hudson Square, phenomenal restaurants, phenomenal apartments, really, really great neighborhood.
So another question: what's the best piece of advice you have ever received in terms of business or in terms of
That's
life?
I've received a lot of great advice.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a specific slogan. There was something I heard in a TV show a while ago that I always loved, and it was the idea that slow progress is lasting progress.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of entrepreneurs, like, we want to get things done now. We want it done quick. We want to grow as fast as possible. But something that I've seen is like, to an extent, I've done what I've done very fast, but I've also really taken it slow to make sure that what we do is very, very much thought through and very carefully constructed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great advice. But look, I've had incredible mentors growing up. My mother's an entrepreneur. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. I've had mentors in politics and tech and manufacturing. I've had like a really diverse group of advisors, so to speak, and they've just given me the best advice. They have no idea what social media is. They don't understand. All of my mentors are like over 65 years old.
Okay.
So so they don't really get it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so that was a great piece of advice. Another really good piece of advice that I was given, truly, and this is pretty generic, but it's very effective,
Mm-hmm.
is in a negotiation, just don't be the first one to speak. Let the other person do what I do. Like, I love to ramble.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will get nervous in a negotiation and they'll just ramble, and they'll give you information that maybe they didn't want to. Maybe they'll talk themselves down on the price. So staying quiet, staying calm is genuinely one of the best things you can do in business, without a doubt.
All right. So if you weren't running NYC apartments, real NYC apartments, what do you think you would be doing instead?
I might be unemployed. Um,
All right.
I
Okay.
I really don't know.
Uh-huh.
I've tried a lot of jobs in my very short life up till now, and there was nothing that I enjoyed. I used to deliver furniture. Like, I used to drive trucks and deliver furniture. That I really enjoyed. So
Okay.
either that or, like,
So
if anything, I think investor relations
uh-huh.
could have been a good fit for me. I studied finance at Bentley University, and I ended up dropping out. And then I got my degree later on. But yeah, I studied finance. That was like my initial track.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kind of realized, like, I just want to be an entrepreneur. That's all I've ever wanted to do.
Okay. So not a job
So I'm
guy.
lucky. No, I wouldn't. I don't do well with a set schedule. I don't do well, working for someone. So yeah, I would probably own my own company. I'd be doing something. I can tell you that, but I don't know. I've never really thought about it.
All right. So I think we have come to an end here. So Mike,
Awesome.
thanks for being on the podcast. It was really nice hearing you. And for anyone looking to find their next apartment in NYC, we have Mike here. He's always there to help you guys out. So, Mike, if people want to find you out, I'm sure they can find Real NYC Apartments. Just search on Google or
Yes.
Instagram, they can find it out. So, if they ever want to follow your journey, do you like post your journey as well?
So I don't really, I do have a personal Instagram. I have like 400 followers and it's private and I don't really advertise it. So
But you
yeah,
comment on your videos. I've seen that.
I do.
Yeah,
I,
it was easy to find you.
it's really easy to find me. I don't do it anymore. I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and I'll say this quick. I used to have other realtors
Uh-huh.
DM my personal account being like, do you need help finding an apartment? And I loved because I would call them and I'd be like, look, I own Real NYC
Okay.
Apartments. Like, you're DMing the wrong person here.
All right.
So yeah, I have a new account that I started. It's called Real NYC Apartments by Mike.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a little bit. That's gonna be like a middle ground of my professional and personal. Um, I'm terrible at social media.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely, it's the funniest thing. It's my job. I'm not great at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, follow me there, follow Real NYC Apartments, and that's it. Check out our website. We can help with any apartment search.
All right. So we have come to an end. It was nice talking to you. I'll see you. So
Yeah, thanks so much.